Welcome to the Randy Report. I'm Randy Slovacek, your host. I'm also the writer and editor of therandyreport.com, where you can find me every single day on the internet reporting on the daily news cycle in terms of politics, pop culture, and entertainment news of interest to the LGBTQ community and its allies. In this week's headlines, the U.S. Supreme Court has ruled Colorado's ban on so-called conversion therapy violates free speech rights. What? The city of Boise has found a workaround to a law banning pride flags from local government buildings. And a recent episode of the courtroom TV show Equal Justice puts conversion therapy directly in a judge's sights. All that and more in this episode of The Randy Report. The U.S. Supreme Court has ruled that a Colorado law banning so-called conversion therapy for minors violates the free speech rights of professional therapists. What? In an 8-1 decision, the majority ruled for an evangelical therapist, Kaylee Childs, who argued the state prohibition infringed on her First Amendment rights to counsel religious teens dealing with sexual orientation issues and gender dysphoria in ways consistent with biblical teachings. The decision could affect similar statutes in nearly 30 states that prohibit attempts to change the expressed sexual orientation or gender identity of youths. Many states passed laws over the past decade as evidence grew that the treatment is harmful. The state of Colorado argued in court it was not regulating free speech, but outlawing substandard medical care, something courts have long allowed. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson was the lone dissenter on the ruling. Reading parts of her 35-page opinion from the bench, Jackson argued that states have long regulated medical care, and to think of therapy differently, quote, flouts centuries of state-standardized regulation of medical care and is, ultimately, nonsensical. She added, quote, the Constitution does not pose a barrier to reasonable regulation of harmful medical treatments just because substandard care comes via speech instead of a scalpel, end quote. This decision reverses an appeals court ruling that upheld Colorado's law. As I've reported many times here on the Randy Report, the American Medical Association, the American Psychiatric Association, the American Academy of Pediatrics, and many other major medical groups oppose conversion therapy. Numerous studies have linked the harmful practice to depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, and higher rates of suicide among gay and transgender people. This ruling sends a terrible message to LGBTQ youth that who they are is something that needs to be fixed. Kaylee Childs was, of course, represented by the virulently anti-LGBTQ law group Alliance Defending Freedom, a conservative Christian legal firm that succeeded in overturning Roe v. Wade in 2022, and over the past few years has lined up several challenges to LGBTQ rights. There's good news from Idaho, where Boise City Hall has responded to a strict ban on flying pride flags at local government buildings by installing poles adorned with rainbow colors and a large welcoming banner. As I reported at the time, the Republican-led state legislature passed a new law last year banning local government buildings from flying anything other than official flags. In other words, they wanted to ban the flying of rainbow pride flags. Following that, the Boise City Council designated, I love this, the pride flag as an official flag of the city as a workaround the new law. And so, last month, Governor Brad Little signed an updated law prohibiting government entities from flying unofficial flags and imposing fines of up to $2,000 a day for noncompliance. But that's not the end of the story. A week after taking down rainbow pride flags to comply with the new state law, Boise City Hall has now installed a rainbow banner and wrapped its flagpoles in LGBTQ colors. A large sign with rainbow stripes and the words, "Creating a City for Everyone," now hangs on the outside of City Hall, while poles in front of the plaza are also adorned with pride colors. When asked about the new artwork, Mayor Lauren McLean told reporters, quote, "Well, the law pertained to flags, and we are in full compliance with the law." Bravo to the city of Boise. What to watch? Tying into my opening story, I want to highlight a recent episode of the courtroom TV show Equal Justice with Judge Ebony K. Williams that put the issue of so-called conversion therapy center stage. The case presented concerns a Tennessee father, Gregory Talbert, who found his 18-year-old son Michael kissing his best friend in his room on a Sunday morning before church. Shortly after this, Gregory spent $6,000 to send his son to conversion therapy, which Michael only agreed to attend out of fear that his parents would disown him and throw him out of the house. Michael ended up running away due to the toxic and cruel conditions at the establishment. As a result, Gregory, the father, sued his son for the $6,000 that he spent to cure his son of being gay. Now, Judge Ebony K. Williams is going viral on social media for putting the father in his place. During the episode, Michael is asked what happened to him in conversion therapy, and he shares that he was told he was, quote, cursed and that I was going to hell, and they called all of us there monsters, that we were unworthy, and we needed the program to fix ourselves. Additionally, harsh text messages from the dad to his son are presented, which the dad tries to minimize by calling them tough love. Before announcing her direct and spot-on decision in the case, Judge Williams steps down from the bench, takes Michael by his hands, and tells him he is worthy, valuable, and perfect in the eyes of God. I'll note that courtroom TV shows are not actual courtrooms. Equal Justice bills itself as a small claims court arbitration show. From what I can determine, while she's not an appointed judge, Williams is a lawyer, an intelligent woman with a solid legal background. I view courtroom TV shows like Equal Justice as being more akin to talk shows that utilize a judicial format to tell a story. That being the case, the episode does an excellent job of framing the harm conversion therapy can cause. You can watch the full episode of Equal Justice with Judge Ebony K. Williams for free on YouTube. I definitely think it's worth your time. I'll have a link in the show notes. And that brings me to the end of this episode of the Randy Report. If you enjoy catching up on LGBTQ news in a quick format, I'd appreciate it if you'd share it with your friends. Also, make sure to hit that subscribe button to ensure that you never miss an episode. I like to think of the Randy Report as the 60 minutes of gay news, only shorter. And remember, you can find me every single day on the internet at therandyreport.com, where I cover the daily news cycle in terms of politics, pop culture, and entertainment news of interest to the LGBTQ community and its allies. Thanks for listening, folks. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.